The greatest tragedy in modern society is the kid who graduates from high school or college and says, "Thank God all the learning is over. Now I don't have to learn anything anymore."
Two out of 3 children entering primary school today will end up working in jobs that don't exist yet. Traditional jobs are declining. And even though new jobs will appear, they will also demand a shift in the people's skill sets. However, most schools are out of step with the needs of today's rapidly changing society. They were not designed to help students to develop as lifelong learners and creative thinkers. So, how can we prepare people for uncertain futures? And how can we shift from educating our heads to educating our hands and hearts as well? In order to answer these questions, we went on a journey. We visited private schools, public schools, universities and people who challenged the current education system. One of them was Gervert Haller.
Good morning, Gaber.
Good morning.
Good morning, Gaber.
Gervert worked as a self-taught coder for Adobe. After years of office work, he reinvented himself as an educational entrepreneur and initiated Brightwork School.
The fact that it started from a bare concrete floor and turned into this place, which is like rides on the fine edge of chaos, is because that's where everything interesting happens, is at the edge, where if we tip it over, it's just chaos and the kids are running around, and that definitely happens to remind us what that feels like. But most of the time we live up on that narrow edge.
Brightwork School, located in a former warehouse in San Francisco, is a private school, set up as a non-profit organization. There are no exams, no tests, no formal curriculum. Children work on projects they devise by themselves.
And that's part of the notion of how we say to the kids without using words that we trust you. All these sharp things are here for you. So, and everybody, including our kindergartners, knows how to come up and
when you're leaning against it, it's almost like triangle part making it.
put together a drill in order to start building something. Right? There are lots of things happening here in this school that look like things that could happen at any school. What's different is that they're writing about and inspired into their writing by the project work that they're doing. The math that they're doing is related to the topic that they're exploring. It's in the context. If we measure the engagement of the student, we diagnose the school as much as the student. If the student is bored, then there's something we didn't understand about that kid. And we can honestly ask the teacher and the school, like, how is it that you're not connecting with this kid? I don't mean to trivialize the complexity of it, but ultimately it comes down to that. Like, are you looking at whether or not it's working? If it's not working, I guarantee it's not the kid. It's not the kid. You misunderstand who that kid is.
Most schools and universities focus on providing in-depth knowledge. They teach concepts in natural science, math, as well as literature, history, and culture. There's an information delivery approach to education. New and alternative educational approaches focus on information seeking instead. For example, leading a project through uncertainty, creating structure within chaos, and taking action. These learner-directed programs are not designed to shape students to fit the future, but to help them to create it.
Technology and using new ways of thinking to create new solutions.
Chaos Pilot is an experimental Danish business school. The university is integrated into society. Students offer solutions for real-world problems from companies and organizations. Christa Windelow-Flitzelius is the CEO and principal of the school.
One of the things that I always like and I always tell my students is that they should never underestimate the value of curiosity. At least one of the qualities when it comes to entrepreneurs and leaders is their infinite curiosity for things. We view learning as a very central element in human endeavor, and which means that it's inherent, it happens if we want to or not, it just happens. But we do think that certain designs can accelerate learning, so we strive to do things first, then we add reflection, and then we add theory. Don't learn by doing. Don't do it in isolation. You are not an island. So you look at your life as a relational type of thing. And I think that the human capacity for learning is virtually infinite. And that is, of course, then a school's role. How can we equip people with those ways, with those attitudes, with those competences, so that can happen over and over again?
School, and even the rest of life, should be more like kindergarten, says education expert and MIT professor Mitchell Resnick. In order to thrive in today's society, we also need to focus on imagining, creating, and playing, just as children do in traditional kindergartens. Resnick developed 4 key principles to apply the kindergarten spirit to all learning: meaningful projects, peers to share ideas, play to try new things, and passion to be engaged in the process. The Hellerupskole is a school without classrooms, collaboratively designed by teachers, the local municipality, parents and kids. One of the people involved is Lene Jensby Lange. She's an educational consultant and helped to redesign more than 80 schools in Denmark.
Why do we need to learn things? It's a question that kids ask all the time. I'd like us to be able to answer that question. When we go to work, we want to make a difference. We at least want it to have a purpose, that it's used for something. In schools, we ask children to come to work for no purpose at all except their sort of long-term education, which is of course also important, but it just goes in a book and goes in a bag and then goes in a bin. We spend 10 years with them, and many of them leave without knowing what they're passionate about or what they're interested in or where they have any specific talents. Too many of them leave believing that they are not a good learner, that they don't have specific talents. There are so many careers that will be created that we haven't thought of yet. So if we can sort of couple what they're passionate about with also things they learn, they might be able to develop careers and lives for themselves that would be really satisfying, and also develop new things in the world that would be of value to many people.
What I say is that you don't ever know really, no one really ever gets the job that they want, so kind of just like specialize in a few things and then just see where life takes you.
Would you want the person who knows topic A, or would you want the person who knows how to learn anything on the fly?